What is up with it, guys? Thomas here, and recently I set a goal to do 50 watercolors in 50 days, and I did it. So I learned a lot from it, like dedication, and definitely got a lot more comfortable with watercolor. And for me, the whole journey started because I am really interested in comics. I've been reading a lot of graphic novels and stuff. And if you guys haven't read Scott Snyder's Witches, you guys should definitely check it out. But the whole journey started because I wanted to do little stories and little vignettes. And for me, I learned a lot about communicating a story really quickly. And with that little line of flavor text, I think it helped and was kind of like a foray for me into comics. So with this video, I wanted to share with you guys some of the sketchbooks I filled up while doing this challenge and let you guys know that there are prints available up on InPrint, and you can check that in the description below. And one thing that I wanted to do was flip through all these sketchbooks with you guys, tell you guys a little bit of what went into these stories and some of the ideas I was thinking about while drawing some of them, and it's going to be really quick. But I also want to do this because a few people reached out to me with some of the watercolors that they'd done themselves that they were inspired to do because of the challenge. And I wanted to share this with you guys because for me, you know, I feed off the energy of a lot of artists, and hopefully I can do the same for you guys. So I wanted to take this 50-day watercolor challenge and put it out to you guys. The only rules would be 1, 50 watercolors in 50 days, and 2, you need a goal to focus on. So for me, that was story. You guys can focus on color, you can focus on light, whatever you want. And as long as you have that goal in mind, you should be fine. Hopefully you'll get a lot better at it over the course of 50 paintings. If you're on Tumblr, Instagram, or Twitter, just tag it with the hashtag 50watercolor and I'll make sure to keep an eye out for it. So without further ado, let's jump into the sketchbooks, and I can't wait to see what you guys do. Thanks for watching. So, as I said in the watercolor painting tutorial video, I'm really inspired by Miyazaki and Kazuo Oga, especially for these paintings, and a lot of these are referencing Princess Mononoke, one of my favorite films. It was a big inspiration for me. And this one on the beach with the shadow, that one's referencing Howard Pyle and his shadow on a wave. And I just love the way light and shadow can define shape, form, and how all of these things can come together. On the dragon one, I love that the reflections, I left them without line, and that was where I kind of started figuring out, like, okay, I don't need to use line on every single facet to help this read. Like, I was just using line on the hard objects and then letting the reflection stay, you know, almost effortless and let it breathe with the water. So this is something I'm definitely looking forward to trying more in the future without working with line. With these other sketchbooks, I'm using, again, Cottonwood Arts sketchbooks. I think it's the B3 series. And yeah, I mean, it was so fun doing all of these and being able to look at each of these paintings now is it's kind of a trip, because I was learning the whole way along, you know. Even here, I'm still trying to figure out, like, how do I make something move? How do I make something look like it's up in the air, you know? Does it need a shadow underneath it? And how to twist and pull perspective in a way that is fun. For some of these, especially these landscapes, I'm really inspired by Russian painters. So Isaac Levitan would definitely be a massive inspiration for me. On to the third sketchbook. So over here, I'm kind of reusing some of the same themes over and over again, and I think this is something Pascal Campion has talked about in the past, where, you know, he may be doing similar subject matter over and over, but he's getting better every time, you know. And in my case, like, there are some repetitions, but I feel like this sketchbook is really the one where I started hitting my stride and became a lot more confident with what I envisioned and then bringing that to paper. But even then, there are some that got a little muddy or got messy, and that's okay. I still put them in my challenge because that's what I did that day. I don't always produce amazing work. It's not just gonna pop out and just be like 100% amazing. Even then, sometimes some of these look really bad, and I have to figure out a way to fix them. Sometimes I'll start with the lighter tones, and like for example, this one to start with was just brutal to try and figure out, and it doesn't always work out. It's okay, but you got to take risks, got to experiment. And then this one is the very, very first watercolor I did at the start of 2016. I was with my friends and family, and we were all just hanging out drawing. Ended up doing this watercolor that inspired the entire 50-day watercolor challenge. So don't forget, if you guys are going to do it, tag at 50 watercolor and I will find you. And then I've got prints up on Imprint, and if you want to check out some of the techniques that I've done in this video, you can check out my previous watercolor painting tutorial. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you around.